Good evening, everyone. My name's Ryan.
I'm Mitch.
We're going to present to you guys a little bit about happiness today.
So for the contents, we'll be discussing an introduction, the research questions, method, theory, definition, items to measure the construct, research trend, discussion, and conclusion.
As Mitch said, we're going to start off with a little introduction as to why we decided to do happiness. It's felt often in participators of sport, and not only in sport but all throughout the real world. It's often a term associated with someone enjoying something. As you can see, it's a highlighted term because it's a really good definition of happiness. And they really enjoy it within the sports that they play and even participate in. And then in terms of watching sport, when the team does well, the fan of that team feels really happy just because they love seeing something they spend a lot of time doing work out well.
So for the introduction, the definition of happiness. Happiness is often used to describe a range of positive emotions, including joy, pride, contentment, and gratitude. It's a state of well-being and contentment.
3 research questions we decided to take a look at. One is define pride concept in a sport fan perspective, and then develop items to measure pride, and then research trend. Pride is also a good synonym for happiness because people are very prideful in what makes them happy.
So the 3 theories we examined of happiness are the hedonism theory, the desire theory, and the objective list theory.
First to start off is the hedonism theory. That states that happiness is a matter of raw subjective feeling. And just to explain on that a little more, happy life maximizes feelings of pleasure and minimizes pain. So it really is meant to say that you're gonna, the Hinduism theory is meant to describe that you're gonna feel maximum happiness compared to little pain, which is what everyone wants to feel in life. And then the theory also paints a good picture of how happy a person should look and feel. You're supposed to smile a lot, be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and then pains are few and far in between, as explained earlier.
So for the desire theory, is simply to the Hinduism theory. The main difference between the two is the desire theory holds that happiness is a matter of getting what you want. With that context, the left up to the person who does the wanting. The desire theory also absorbs the main point of Hinduism. You want a lot of pleasure and happiness and a little pain with it.
The third and final theory that we're just going to be discussing in this presentation is the objective list theory. The big thing of the objective list theory is it lodges happiness outside of feelings and kind of just puts everything you want on a list of truly valuable things in the real world. And then it holds that happiness consists of human life that achieves certain things from a list of worthwhile pursuits. So pretty much it's just whatever you find enjoyable in life, that's what makes you happy, and you kind of just put it on a list and whatever, and you go to pursue those things. Some examples in sport are kind of just going to see your favorite sports team play live, winning your high school championship in football or any other sport, and receiving your favorite player's jersey as a gift. And then all those above examples make a sport fan happy. I think this picture really depicts the objective theory well. This is Bryce Harper, former player of the Nationals, not out there anymore. This is him going to sign his kid's baseball. So it just shows that he's probably really happy he's getting his favorite player and idol to sign his baseball.
So for our literature review results, we found that participation in sport increases life satisfaction and health, and positive moods are derived directly from sports.
Here's the definition of happiness in a sport fan perspective. We went over the general definition earlier, but we're just going to put it in a sports perspective, considering this is a sports consumer behavior class. Terms associated with someone enjoying something, again, the sport they participate in, or even just sports in general. It's also seen while they watch sports. Again, when your favorite team does well or your favorite player does well, they're going to be really happy. Looks like this picture here, everyone's at an Angels game. They probably just hit a home run or made a crazy catch in the outfield, so this fan is really happy to enjoy that.
So for our interview results, we had 6 correspondents, and we asked them 2 questions. What makes you feel happiness? And what comes to your mind regarding happiness? So what makes you feel happiness? Some of the quotes we got from our correspondence were, when my hard work pays off, and when I play well and my team succeeds. Those are two pretty important things when it comes to happiness in athletes.
The second question that we had was what comes to your mind regarding happiness? Again, we got a pretty similar answer to the first one. It's when my team wins. Again, it's as we said throughout this whole presentation. People get really happy in sport when their team wins, performs well, even when they're watching it. And then the second common answer we received was when I do something for someone without them asking. That could be a more general life example, but also can pertain to sports because let's say after practice, they just got done practicing, they go pick up the cones, right, whatever item they're using for a drill. That'll probably make the coach very happy because they don't have to do it. The fact that that player went out of the way to do something for someone without them asking could make someone else feel really happy.
So defining the concept. Happiness is a pretty difficult concept to get a grasp of, but to define, people feel happy due to several factors. Fans feel happier when their team wins, obviously it makes a trade for a great player, and participators of sport feel happier when they score a basket or goal to make a personal stride or achieve a goal. That's a big part of an athlete's happiness, and it brings a lot of joy to them when they see their teammates do well or they see themselves break goals that they set.
And then we had put in here some items to measure the construct. 3 approaches that we found: psychological approach, business approach, communication approach.
So for the psychological approach, we found, according to psychology, happiness is more than simply the experience of a positive mood. Basically, in other words, happiness is people's evaluations of their lives and encompasses both cognitive judgments of satisfaction and effective appraisals of moods and emotions.
The next approach I would say to take a look at to measure a construct is a business approach. Essentially, that's creating a happy workforce. It increases productivity because employees are more focused and creative. If sometimes it's incentive based, like if they have a good incentive to do something, they're going to be more focused and creative, which in result makes them way more happy in the workplace. To further that statement, the field of happiness studies was originally called well-being economics, which did not resonate with most people, hence the lay term of happiness being used. That's just kind of saying that whenever the Carter guys studied this study, happiness is kind of like well-being economics, just because happiness is a good judgment of someone's well-being.
And lastly, we examined the communication approach. So basically, build happiness and well-being among staff and an organization will benefit for a more emotionally intelligent workplace. So people who not only understand their own and other people's emotions, but can effectively manage their own and other people's emotions as well.
So there's going to be a few items to measure happiness. The first one is the Oxford Happiness Questionnaire. It was developed by a couple of psychologists at Oxford University. That's where it got its name. The questionnaire is a great way to get a snapshot of someone's current level of happiness. That's kind of just saying, like, someone's going to take that survey, whatever mood they're in, it's going to measure how happy they are at that very specific time as they take the survey. And then there's a little scale for the survey that uses. It's normally ranked with a number. 1 being strongly disagree, 2 is moderately disagree, 3 is also moderately disagree, 4 slightly agree, 5 moderately agree, and 6 is strongly agree. The survey consists of 29 statements. There's a few examples just to go over. I feel that life is very rewarding. I rarely wake up feeling rested, and I am always committed and involved. Those are just a few of the 29. They're all kind of just like to see how happy someone is in like certain points throughout the day.
So some items to measure happiness. The subjective happiness scale, also known as the general happiness scale. This scale is a 4-item scale. Basically, the main goal is designed to measure subjective happiness. Each item is completed by choosing one of the 7 options that finish the sentence fragment. The options are all different for each of the 4 questions, and we attached the link to the happiness chart.
Click on it, take a look. So here's the subjective happiness scale as Mitch went over. You scroll down here, there's a little abstract just to give you a good overview of it. And here's kind of what it looks like. For each of accuracy instructions, lets the reader or taker of the survey know what they have to be doing. And then the first question, in general, I consider myself, 1, not a very happy person, or it can go all the way to 7.